Now, one of our larger state agencies is the Virginia Department of Transportation. Is there a need to take a closer look at that state agency?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think any time that you have challenges, you need to make sure that you have the best and the brightest and complete focus on that challenge. And that's in any business case that you're in. So we're in a business case where we have fewer dollars or no dollars. There have been significant layoffs. I do worry about the morale of the agency. I think from any of our own personal work experiences, when we've had layoffs in an organization, you know, it tends to take down the morale, and that takes down the excitement and efficiency and the vision sometimes. So I think our new governor with new leadership in that area has an opportunity now to, really begin to look bottom up at what's happening in the organization, how it can be the most effective. Is it using the best management practices, the best technology capabilities, and working most effectively with the federal government and local communities to achieve its objectives. So I think it does need to be looked at. I think the governor in his State of the Commonwealth speech talked about efficiency reviews of the agency. That doesn't mean beat somebody up. That just means say how can we help you? We don't have the resources we've had in the past. We've probably never had enough, but we have many fewer resources now. So what can we do that's smart, that's efficient, to make improvements within that Department of Transportation?
And of course, another significant challenge will be any funding solution is going to have to be a bipartisan one. I think you would agree.
Well, there's no question. The Democrats have control of the Senate. The Republicans, my party, has control of the House of Delegates and the governor's mansion right now. But we have to agree on solutions and priorities. And so, I've been talking to my Democratic friends in the Senate about the issues we have with transportation, not only in my area but statewide, and how important it is that transportation begin to become a significant focus as we climb out of this revenue shortfall that we have. There's always the ongoing debate about raising taxes and raising gas taxes and those kind of things. And my objective is to try to look at the cost of government. That was a third thing I spoke about often in the campaign. How can we, we talked about VDOT, Medicaid is another area that's the only way we've been able to control the cost of Medicaid is to drop the fees we pay doctors and hospitals, almost to the point where they can no longer see the patients. When that happens, patients don't get consistent quality medical care in some cases because they don't go to the doctor, and sometimes they end up in the emergency room. And so my company, AmeriGroup, which again I'm no longer with the company but did found the company back in '94, AmeriGroup works in several states, helping those states improve access to health care, primarily primary care for low-income moms, their kids, and the disabled, and keeping them out of the emergency room. And I do think there's still opportunities in Virginia to do a better job, particularly with the aged and blind and disabled population. And so, I'm looking forward to learning about that in this rehab subcommittee that I'm on and social services subcommittee. And I'm looking at some legislation that would, again, challenge DMAS to look at, are they using the most effective systems? Are people getting the best access to primary care? Do they have the dignity of an insurance card? Do they have a physician that's paid enough to care about them? Because it's not rocket science. Those are really the keys to improving cost management and quality management for the Medicaid population. There are serious challenges there, but there's hope. I think many states have done things that Virginia, I think, can model.
So controlling healthcare costs is an important part of the mix.
It really is. It's an entitlement program, and as the economy gets worse, more people are entitled to those benefits. And so as that happens, it's almost like it squeezes out everything else within the state budget and drives up our costs. Now, we do get a federal match from that, which is good, but it's one of the fastest growing line items we have in the state budget. So it's an area I know a fair amount about, have a fair amount of experience in, and I really look forward to working with the new Secretary of Health and Human Resources, a physician, and having an opportunity to learn how we can work together to improve access and improve quality, but I think at the same time get stabilization of cost.
Tell us how is it that transportation also translates into a potential public safety issue?
Well, for us, down at the beach, I mean, clearly there's just a couple of tubes that we have to get out when there's a time to get out quickly. And you know, I'm really also glad that Terry Suit has just gone to work for the governor in terms of emergency preparedness. And we have, I think, a lot of good plans in place. But, you know, we've seen from other disasters that, you know, we have to be prepared to be effective when we have these situations. So, you know, having a third or fourth way out over time is extremely vital. And so it's something that we're all concerned about as citizens and as legislators.
It's interesting because your work on privileges and elections probably will involve, at some point, redistricting on the Senate side. And of course, the federal census is being taken this year. How important is it for citizens to participate in that process?
Oh, well, the census process overall,
Yes.
well, it's
Yes.
huge. The census process is vital, and people should be very respectful of their census workers and give them as much information as they can, because it does determine, you know, political boundaries and redistricting and the opportunities that people have to run for public office, and the opportunities that the voters have to elect them. So those boundaries get changed about every 10 years with the census. And this committee will work with this data to make sure that the populations in those areas are effectively represented, and that the boundaries make sense from a political standpoint, from an economic standpoint, from a community standpoint. Those boundaries need to make sense so that communities, you know, are kept, you know, intact as a whole, and that the focus of the elected officials for those communities, you know, makes sense, so that there's good symmetry. You know, some state senators have as many as 5 counties due to their size. I'm blessed just to have the eastern part of Virginia Beach, so it's a fairly contiguous group, and the issues are kind of the same in many ways. And so I can, you know, there's probably more focus for me than some legislators that have these larger areas. But that's what this does. This process will, once the census data is in, will make sure that our alignment with our communities and our elected officials makes sense.
We've got about a minute and a half left. I'd like to give you an opportunity just to sum up and also let your constituents know how they can contact you through your website or otherwise.
Well, time really flies. I must have been talking a lot. Woody, I hope I didn't bore the listeners out there. Look, the website, it's jeffmcwaters.com. All of our data is there, including the response to the governor's State of the Commonwealth address, which really laid out some of the things that myself and other legislators and our new governor are going to be focused on. And I really want to thank the voters, and I want the voters to know I'm representing Republicans, but certainly also representing Democrats and independents. Our door is open. Info@jeffmcwaters.com is a great place to go and ask questions. We review that daily, sometimes more than once during the day. Try to get back to everyone. You can certainly send us a letter. All the information on how to communicate with our office is there. We also have an office that's open from I think 10 a.m. till about 2. Even when I'm up here, we've tried to keep someone in the office at 1207 Laskin Road. So we're trying to be as accessible as we can, taking as many good ideas as we can, and also understand the needs that we have in the community. But I really want to thank the voters for giving me this opportunity, and thank Ken Stolley for his help in this transition.
Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate your public service, and we wish you luck in the upcoming session.
Thank you, Woody. Appreciate it.
I'm Woody Evans for Cable Reports and Cox Communications. Mm-hmm.